Good evening and welcome to Perkiomen Valley High School for this evening's season opener between the Perkiomen Valley Vikings and Antietam High School. And once again, I am joined with Danny Collins. And Danny, we are back again for another season. We're going to start with the boys tonight.
Yeah, looking forward to another great season. Boys coming off a good year last year. Pretty much senior-laden team the last couple of years almost. This year, Mike Poison coming in with a young squad. 2 sophomores starting, 3 sophomores coming in off the bench. I was talking with them the other day, and we kind of got a vibe even before I talked to him that, things might be a little shaky maybe when you got a young squad. He's super excited about this squad. He likes the length of the team across the board, 1 through 5. He likes the depth of the team, so we'll get our first chance to see how they're looking tonight.
And as a coach, you know this too. When you have your first game of the year, you're always just looking to see what is my team made of, what can we do. They've had scrimmages the last week. Both the coaches, staff of Perkiomen Valley, very happy with the scrimmages, but you don't know till the game really starts, right?
Yeah, and last year they kicked off the season with Cardinal O'Hara, who had a very good team. So when you go up against a very good team right out of the gate, sometimes it's hard to gauge yourself. Not that a lesser team is going to help you either, but I think this is a squad where Coach Poison might really get to see where his young guys really fit in and really what their role's going to be. It takes a few games to get a real good feel for that, but tonight's a good start.
It's going to be a challenge for us because there's going to be a lot of new names tonight that we just don't know.
Yeah, we're working on those, especially when it comes to younger kids. We haven't seen them even at the JV level, some of them.
Right.
So we're getting our first look at them as well.
Well, we're going to meet them in a second, starting lineups at Anthem coming up in just a few moments.
Language meant to demean contestants, teams, spectators, and officials are not in the highest ideals of interscholastic education and will not be tolerated. Let today's contest reflect mutual respect. We request your cooperation in supporting today's contestants and contest officials in a positive manner. Offensive and unsportsmanlike language or conduct will not be tolerated and may serve as grounds for removal. Please respect our student athletes, coaches, contest officials, and game administration with your cooperation to promote a safe, positive game and environment. Thank you. Would everyone please rise for the playing of the national anthem? And now tonight's starting lineups. First representing Antietam. Number 1, Jacob Schremm. Number 3, A.J. Schiefler. Number 4, Josiah Meredith. Number 5, Jonas Costa. And number 21, Noel Costa. And now the starting lineup for Perkiomen Valley.
So there are. There's your starting lineups. If you did not hear them for the Mountaineers, it's going to be number 1, Jacob Schrem. Number 3, A.J. Shifley. Number 4, Josiah Meriday. Number 5, Jonas Coste. And number 21, Noel Coste. For the Vikings, they're going to go with number 4, Will Stein. Number 13, Owen Bryant. Number 15, Chase Kelly. Number 30, Ben Motley. And number 32, Ty Hoppenwasser. By the way, I never introduced ourselves. I'm Ryan Kuhn along with Danny Collins. There we go. Now we're ready to go. And Danny, you mentioned during the lineups that it's a bit of a difference here. The Vikings going with a young lineup, the Mountaineers with a senior-laden lineup.
Yeah, Antietam coming out with 5 seniors to start tonight's game. Perkiomen Valley, only 1 senior starting, and that is Chase Kelly, followed up with 2 sophomores and 2 juniors. So it is going to be a good test for Coach, just from a standpoint of you got some young guys out here. Every one of them, this is their first start as a varsity player. So we'll see how they operate against the senior-laden squad.
First chance inside for Chase Kelly, rims out and brought down by the Mountaineers. They push the other way.
Burke Valley coming out in a man-to-man to start things. Antietam running a wide offensive spread offense. Really keeping out on the perimeter, trying to create openings inside. When you don't have a squad that has a lot of size like Antietam does, or does not, I should say, you're going to look to keep things on the perimeter and look to see if you can use your shooting abilities. But you certainly want to create open space in the lane.
Hoppenwasser with the defense there. It's kind of a remarkable change for Perkiomen Valley. Forever, Previe has never been known as a really big squad, but they are, it looks like, at least tonight they are.
Yeah, and evenly across all 5 spots, and even down to the bench. And not that anybody here is, 6'7", 6'8", or 6'9", but you just saw in Ty Hoppenwasser there the ability to be able to get up and block shots. Not only is he tall, he's got a long reach as well.
The Antietam defense keeping the ball on the outside. Now Hoppenwasser in the inside, blocked and put back by Owen Bryant.
Good cut by Ty to the basket, just not able to finish. Good follow-up. So really looking to see if Ty Hoppenwasser really gets off on a good start. He got a lot of playing time last year, and I know they're looking for big things from him this year.
Noel Coste goes to the basket. Noel is we're assuming, brother of Jonas Coste, so they're both out there at the same time. So that was Noel for 2. So both teams getting their first points of the year here with about 2 minutes into the first quarter, and now a 10-second violation called against the Vikings.
Yeah, Antietam didn't do anything there to make PV hesitate. I think PV just kind of got caught off guard a little bit and wasn't quite sure how to execute to get over half court. Plenty of space to get up the floor. I think they just kind of froze there for 10 seconds.
Can we blame this on the beginning of the season?
Yeah, it certainly could.
Let's go with that. So the first turnover of the game goes to the Vikings. Antietam with the ball in the Vikings end. Meriday tries to go in, has it denied, and the Vikings pull out, go the other way.
Yeah, Ty Hoppenwasser on the second block there.
Will Stein tries to keep it in, foot on the line, and another turnover to Antietam.
Off to a little bit of a sloppy start, which would be expected. First game of the season for both teams.
Both teams have scrimmaged over the last couple of weeks, but there's nothing quite like a live game.
No, not at all. And, certainly your nerves are different and your approach to the game is different, and you don't want to make any mistakes. And, you come out a little tight, and I would say that's what we're seeing right now.
First foul of the game called against Antietam. This one's on Jacob Schrem, so it's his first. Antietam picks up the press here as the Vikings try to break it across. They do. This is Motley who has to bring it back out. Passes it back to the only senior on the court, Chase Kelly. Kelly now to Will Stein. Will Stein had a good year on the football team, now out here for the basketball team. And the inside for Bryant, and they're going to call this a jump ball on the tie-up. So the third turnover of the game for the Vikings as we are 3 minutes in. Glad you could join us for the season opener tonight of Perkiomen Valley Vikings basketball. We're going to have a lot of boys games this year. Not so many girls games. The girls are going to be on the road a lot this year, so we're going to see the girls in moments this year.
Yeah, as you know that schedule flips year to year, and we spent a lot of time here last year, which was a great opportunity for us because, needless to say, our girls had a great season running all the way through to the state championship, but this year they'll spend more time on the road.
Chase Kelly to the basket, a little too strong. Rebound by Jonas Coste. Long three-point attempt from outside, and it's good by A.J. Shifley.
Yeah, back at the volleyball line there. It's like watching a whack game there late at night on ESPN when you see those teams shooting through the volleyball lines.
Chase Kelly from the free throw line, too strong. Bryant comes down with the rebound. Back to Kelly. He has it stripped out of his hands, but they're going to call a foul as he goes to the basket.
Yeah, we'll see if this continues. And what I'm saying here is a couple times we've had PV players go to the basket, Chase Hoppenweiser and now Chase Kelly. They got to bring that ball up a little bit higher when you're cutting to the rim. When you bring the ball down low, I understand that the pass is coming in a certain spot, but you want to get that ball up higher and secure it and be strong, as opposed to down by your hip where you can easily get stripped. So you get the ball up higher, you're closer to the basket, more likely to get fouled, and looking for that three-point play.
Chase Kelly makes the first free throw. He makes the second. John Boyd's going to come in and check in for him.
John Boyd, a senior who last year got a lot of playing time, played a lot of the one, kind of out of necessity in a lot of cases, but did a great job in helping the squad get the ball up the floor last year. Checking in for the first time tonight.
And talking to Coach Boyden, it does look like John Boyd is going to be that first guy off the bench most of the year.
Well, it's funny how you put it that way because Coach Boyden was saying he basically has 6 starters, and John Boyd being that 6th starter, and it gives him the ability to bring him off the bench at any time and kind of not even miss a beat per se.
Oh, and Brian called for his foul, the first of the year for the Vikings, first of the game as well. And shooting free throws will be Josiah Meriday. And he makes the first one to extend it to a 6-4 lead for the Mountaineers. Two for two from the line for Meriday.
Here's Antietam in that 2-1-2, which really didn't pose a whole lot of a threat. Just PV struggled with it. Now they don't seem to have an issue. They'll want to stop right over half court, keep that ball moving. And a little bit of hesitation. Nice steal there.
Another turnover. This leads to a chance for Shifley underneath, and they're going to call this a jump ball. Good defense by Owen Bryant to force that.
Yeah, nice job by Owen. Going straight up as opposed to going into his body and not following through where you can draw that foul. Went straight up, connected on the ball, and you got a jump ball.
Risky play for him. He just picked up a foul moments ago, so for him to pick up that defensive play was a good job.
Nice job breaking the press there.
Vikings set up their offense. They're going to go with Motley up top. Now it's Stein. And Hoppenwasser, he has it stolen by Shifley, and he's able to collect it and start the offense for Antietam, and that's got to be about the 5th or 6th turnover for the Vikings early to start this game.
Yeah, and what Antietam's going to try to do is use their size or lack thereof against Perkiomen Valleys. And the last 2 possessions, we saw some quick hands by Antietam getting the steal right off the dribble. So Perk Valley's got to be careful with that dribble. Antietam's coming after the ball.
Shifley, guarded by Stein, now hands it off. And this is going to be a timeout for Antietam, as it looked like the offense got a little bogged down. And that is something we're going to keep an eye on, especially going into next year or the next couple of years, as the words shot clock are now being said in the high school game. And that might change the game a lot.
Yeah, much needed shot clock. I am in favor of the shot clock. And for the purpose of this, if a team can hold a team from 35 seconds down and not allow them to score basket or get a good shot off, they should be rewarded. And that's my approach to that. It's not a matter of picking up the pace of the game or picking up the scoring, or I do not believe it'll force bad offense or fast shots. What it does is it rewards a good defensive team. And at all the other levels, we're playing with shot clock. So it's inevitable that it reached at a high school level. I'm just surprised it's taken this long.
There are those out there who will still say we'll believe it when we actually see it mounted on the backboard, but they say it's coming.
Yeah, and I'm gonna go to another sport here because one of my children played. I want to see a shot clock in lacrosse.
We barely get the clock to run as it is right now, so don't worry, Vikings lacrosse season coming up soon. But
PV's jumped into a zone here. into a 2-3, kind of extended up to a 1-3-1. They ran this defense quite a bit. This is one of Coach Poison's more favorite defense, I'll say. But they really do a good job, PV, of executing this.
Very patient start to this game. 7-4 Antietam leads with 1:51 to go. Very limited as far as possessions go so far tonight.
Yeah, and I think like we said earlier, I think you're looking at two squads trying to find out who they are and what their abilities are, because the scrimmages only show you so much. It's when you get into the real games here is really when you know what you are and who you are.
Vikings defense forces a pull-out back up top. This is going to be Jonas Coste handing off to A.J. Shifley. Shifley to Shrem all the way across to Meriday. Meriday guarded by Boyd. Now the defense is picked up by it was David Valente who's in. By the way, he checked in and forces him out of bounds and a turnover, and the Vikings get the ball. Vikings go to the bench again, and this is going to be Austin Kelly.
Yeah, Antietam struggling against that zone. PV might sit in that a little bit longer. I know it's not one of the things Coach Poison likes to do for an extended period of time. He likes to switch his defenses up. Turnover by PV, though, there. Also playing sloppy at this point.
David Valente, who is another sophomore, checked in the game after that timeout. He's called for the travel as he did not dribble it when he came down.
And you got to think these sophomores are even a little more nervous. You know, they're stepping out in the varsity court for the first time. So they're feeling that a little bit. They're feeling those first game jitters as well.
They have never played in front of you before, so this is a big moment for them.
I think that was part of the pregame speech.
That's right. Danny Collins is here, people. Remember that.
That's right. I saw them all look up this way.
Under a minute to play, first quarter. Vikings continue to trail 7-4 as the Mountaineers have a 3, a 2, and a couple free throws.
Antietam has not gone to their bench as of yet. We'll see what the second quarter brings.
Shrem regathers inside, nice pass, and is going to draw the foul.
Yeah, good patience there. Good look at the end of that set. PV just kind of backed off towards the baseline a little bit, which created that opening for Josiah to come up there and show himself. And good look down underneath, and we're at the free throw line shooting too.
Foul called on David Valente, his first. Second foul of the quarter from the Vikings, and the first free throw is good for Meriday. Vikings go to the bench again, and Kyle Tracy, our champion cross-country runner, comes in for the Vikings.
Trace the ace, our three-point specialist.
Free throw no good, and the rebound comes down or brought down by Ben Motley. Kyle Tracy this year will run cross-country, will play basketball, he's going to play baseball, he's going to run track and field.
Hey, you don't see very many four-sport athletes.
And he makes a 3.
Wasted no time in making himself a part of this game, Kyle Tracy. Kyle, a very streaky shooter. Kyle can make 6-7 in a row without thinking about it.
Long 3 at the end of the quarter, no good. Rebound brought down by David Valente, and a very interesting first quarter comes to an end with Antietam leading 8-7.
Yeah. Perk Valley, again, I think feeling the jitters a little bit. We don't know Antietam a whole lot. They seemed a little perplexed by that zone that Perk Valley put out. I think you'll see Coach Poison come out in that again. You know, not only is this one of his taller teams, but they're also very athletic. So they can extend themselves and still be able to cover even against a smaller team. We'll see if Antietam looks to maybe attack that basket a little bit more so as opposed to trying to look for perimeter shots.
So as we start the second quarter, I know we want to take a moment to recognize the passing of former Perkiomen Valley principal Frank Manley, rather. I know, Danny, you knew him well and would like to take a moment to say some words about him.
Yeah, it's funny you bring that up today. I just heard it today. Dr. Manley hired me here at Perkiomen Valley.
Well, we'll still say nice things about him, though, right?
33 years ago. I'm sorry, everybody, but he hired me. A great man, quite a gentleman, very regal. All I can tell you is Dr. Manley generally had everybody's back. He really did take care of everybody, whether it was staff, students, you name it. He just really looked out for everyone. Very personable, very kind. He will be missed sorely, that's for sure. And I believe he was 88 years of age. So God bless him, and we'll keep his family in our prayers.
And, of course, at the end of the season, we will have the Frank Manley Final Four for the Pioneer Athletic Conference Championship. We'll have a couple games here. The championships will be over at Springport, but we'll have a few games here in this gym as well.
Yeah, Dr. Manley, the man who brought about the Pioneer Athletic Conference. And rightfully so, the playoffs are named after him.
So the Vikings force a turnover here to start the second quarter. They trail by 1. A few seconds in, Vikings go back to their same lineup they had to finish the first quarter with Kyle Tracy on the court. This is Austin Kelly, who has this ball go off his foot.
Yeah,
Josiah Narity takes it.
Looked like Chase was in a position there. He wanted to make the pass, and then that passing lane closed off. Kind of got caught in no man's land and lost control of the ball.
One shot and a 3, no good. Pass inside for Hoppenwasser. He has to go off his hands. It goes out of bounds off of the foot of Noel Coste and will stay with the Vikings. There was a big car crash in the lane there, too, between Kyle Tracy and one of the Antietam players as well.
The two ones basically ran over one another.
Hoppenwasser drawing contact, goes to the basket and gives the Vikings the lead.
Encouraging move there. You like to see Ty Hoppenwasser get to the basket, use his size inside. He's got broad shoulders, got a great drop step, and he can go in either direction. So good to see him get to the basket and finish.
A little bit of a Euro step there and goes out of bounds off of Will Stein. So it'll stay with the Mountaineers. Inbounded by Josiah Maladay. No, he does not. He gets called for the 5-second violation. So good defense by the Vikings. Kind of a herky-jerky game, a lot of turnovers early, but we kind of knew this coming in.
Yeah, no real flow to it. But again, like we've said, and it's this first game here, so kind of like a 2-3 look here. They backed out of the 1, leaving the middle wide open in that three-quarter court pressure. Not sure why they did that, but PV went right through the middle of it.
Looking inside for Austin Kelly, rims out, and then Stein picks it up, and he's going to be called for an offensive foul.
Yeah, Austin, I'm sure he wishes he had that back. That's one where you're right there and you want to finish. And so they bring his brother in for him.
Well, 'tis the season, so. So Chase Kelly checks back in. That foul is called on Will Stein, his first. Antietam continues to go back and forth across court to try to open up this Vikings defense.
Yeah, one of the things they want to start doing as I'm watching them flow through their offense is as they're cutting through the lane, you're going to get a travel there. As they're cutting through the lane, they're not cutting hard. So they're never going to get open if they continue to just go half speed through the lane. They're going to have to start cutting harder through the lane and looking to get some sort of back screen potentially off of that, because right now there's nothing on the perimeter and they're not getting to the basket hard enough.
Open space limited so far tonight. Hoppenwasser from outside. He decides to pull back down, and Chase Kelly draws the foul. About 25 feet from the basket. This one's going to be called on Josiah Meriday. And that'll be his first. So one foul each side. Meriday called for his first.
I'd like to see if Perk Valley try to get Ty Hoppenwasser the ball a little bit more on the inside. Good take. John Boyd with the left hand.
He goes up with the left hand and gets the roll and gives the Vikings a 3-point lead.
John Boyd, naturally a left-hander, a southpaw. Ooh, could have got called for a walk there.
Hand off to Noel Coste. And then he gives it back to A.J. Shifley. Loses the ball, 2-on-1 for the Vikings. John Boyd looks for the pass, gets the basket, and that's good for Will Stein.
Nice communication by the two there as they close down in the lane. John just gave him an eye. He was going to lob him the ball. Good finish there. Get to the line now. Go for the three-point play. Back on Antietam's offensive end, since Perk Valley has been in a zone, I don't think all but 2 or 3 of their possessions, the ball has gotten underneath the three-point line. So PV doing a great job defensively right now in keeping Antietam as far away from the basket as they can, not even giving them an attempt.
It took nearly 11 minutes, but Antietam finally goes to the bench. Coming into the game is number 32, Caden Moss. So he's the first sub for the Mountaineers as we are about halfway through the second quarter.
Yeah, and they've changed their offense in that he's playing almost like a triangle, going from low block to foul line, looking to either create screens or help out on the glass or do something on the inside because they weren't getting any kind of interior play.
Well, Moss came down with the rebound, but he couldn't get the putback to go. Now the Vikings, they go to the basket. No good. Will Stein cleans it up and puts it in.
Nice follow. Way to go to the basket. That's young players. You want to see that all the time. You get the opportunity. Basically, coaches are going to say 4 players get to the basket, 1 player get back to stop any kind of fast break.
Shrem throws it up. Moss comes down with it. He goes back outside and throws it to the crowd. David Valente comes back in for the Vikings as he'll check in for John Boyd. Yeah, it looks like Antietam has backed off the token press they were doing. Antietam still looking for their first points here in the second quarter.
I tell you, I'm impressed by Will Stein so far. He really makes some heady plays. Of course, that's a great basketball family, the Stein family.
Getting the basket and the foul is David Valente. So he gets 2 and he'll shoot 1.
David, one of those sophomores that's getting playing time off the bench for Coach Poisden, showing his presence right away.
Caden Moss called for his first foul. And the free throw is good. He completes the 3-point play, and the Vikings lead by 10. This has been a slow build here in the second quarter.
Yeah, Perk Valley getting into a double-digit lead for the first time and really just getting in sync for the first time, really getting some flow to their offense and their defense for that matter.
Shifley with the floater, rebound by Stein. He brings it up. He hands off to Motley, who now gives it to Kelly. Almost a steal. Instead, Stein for 3. A little too strong. The rebound is brought down by Moss. No, it's not. Valente to Chase Kelly. He gets the 2, and the Vikings lead by 12. And now a technical foul called underneath the basket on Antietam.
Now, I'm not sure if that was intentional by A.J. Sheffley, but the referee did not hesitate in giving that technical foul as he bumped Chase Kelly getting up from the floor after a difficult layup.
Technical foul sent to A.J. Shifley.
So Shifley called for the foul, or the technical foul rather. That's the 4th foul of the quarter against Antietam. And Chase Kelly will shoot the free throws for the technical. Which, by the way, is probably the hardest free throws to do in the game because you're just out there by yourself.
Yeah, it's just a funky feeling because you don't see players on either side. And then you start getting into your head, well, I guess everybody's looking at me. As they would be anyway when you're at the free throw line. But when you don't have those players on either side, it's definitely a different feeling.
So he makes 1 of 2, and the lead is now 13. Antietam goes back to the bench, coming in a couple guys. Number 21, Noel Coste, comes back in. Also coming in for the first time is Josiah LeBron. Underneath the basket, putting it up is Owen Bryant, and he'll shoot 2.
Owen did a nice job gathering himself, getting that ball, getting control of it, and then able to spin to the other side of the basket, get fouled, and get to the free throw line. So good job by him.
So unfortunately for Josiah LeBron, he gets called for a foul just seconds after he comes in the game. Owen Bryant shooting 2, the first one a little strong. Vikings go to the bench, and coming in again is another sophomore, this time number 5, Derek Deal.
So to Coach Poisden's claim, he has already gone 5 deep on the bench. So we've had 10 players for Perkiomen Valley play in this game so far with 3:12 left in the first half.
Owen Bryant 0 for 2 from the free throw line. Josiah Meride comes down with the rebound. 3 minutes to go, second quarter. Vikings lead 21-8. Antietam looking for their first points here in the second quarter. The Vikings defense has been pretty stout here in the second part.
Yeah, in contrast to that, Antietam, which again, every team gives you different connections and different combinations, but they've only gone one player deep so far on the bench.
Chase Kelly comes down with the rebound. He hands it to Derek Deal, who gets his first touch of the game. And we're going to get a three-pointer from Valente, a little strong. Rebounded by Chase Kelly. He puts it back up, uses the glass, and gets two.
Nice job by Chase Kelly going up, snaring that rebound out of the ground, out of the air, and then able to spin, go up off the glass. Well done.
Vikings extend their lead to 15.
Yeah, and extending that zone back out again. And this is really crossing up Antietam.
Shot fake, puts it up, no good. And then Chase Kelly argues with his teammate over the rebound. Derek Deal gives it to the senior.
Antietam's going to have to hit a couple of those jumpers just to make themselves honest and get Perk Valley to come out and defend them. Right now, all Perk Valley has to do is really defend any kind of penetration, and that's exactly what they're doing.
Kelly to the basket, no good. And then we're going to have a jump ball in the lane before the foul, it looks like. Yeah, the one official calling the jump ball is going to win the argument. And the ball stays with the Vikings. Kyle Tracy's going to come back in for the Vikings. So, too, is Austin Kelly. .150 to go. Second quarter. Vikings lead by 15. Kyle Tracy catches. He puts it up. This one's a little long. Caden Moss comes down with the rebound. And Antietam looks for their first score of the second quarter.
Yeah, yet to hit double digits.
There it is. So 3 for Noel Coste. And those are the first points of the second quarter for the Mountaineers.
PV will let them take that all day until they start hitting it consistently.
Kyle Tracy from the corner, no good. Chase Kelly gets the rebound and puts it in for 2.
Chase Kelly really doing a nice job on the offensive glass so far tonight. I believe that's a 6-point off of offensive rebounds.
It just looks like the ball finds him, doesn't it?
Yeah. Really doing it. They always say rebounding is 20% technique, 80% effort. And I got to be honest, his looks like 100% effort. He's coming in from far away from the basket to get rebounds and then finishing. He's really doing a nice job.
Jacob Schrem comes back in for Antietam, and John Boyd comes back in for the Vikings with 47.7 seconds to go in the second quarter.
Coach Poison's got a nice hockey team here. They keep jumping the boards and bringing guys in.
I don't think we're getting paid enough to know all these names right now. So where Jim Jackson and Brian Boucher are saying it's not so easy now, is it? Valente tries to make space, puts it up. Good defense by Caden Moss.
Tried to get a little crafty there with his shoulder. Like you said, create some space, just not able to put the ball in the hoop. Ooh.
I think he's got a little scramble there at the end of the quarter there as the ball went flying out of bounds and back toward the half court, and it's going to end up being a foul on John Boyd.
The footballer and John Boyd there.
20 seconds to go, second quarter. Antietam with the basketball down by 14. And we're going to have a foul called underneath the basket. Looks like John Boyd's going to be called for this one. So he picks up 2 quick fouls here at the end of the first half.
Yeah, he was coming off the screen there. John was just kind of trailing him a little bit, tried to stick his arm out almost like an arm bar, but in the process, he held up the player, and that's going to get called every time.
10 seconds for Antietam here at the end of the first half. Coste looking for Schrem. He goes amongst the trees. It's deflected. Here's Boyd from the half-court line. He draws a foul right before the buzzer.
Wow. Trailing official right there saw the foul.
And they're going to give him 3 free throws here at the end of the first half as the Vikings look to extend their lead. So Jacob Schrem called for that unfortunate foul as the buzzer was going.
Coach Mike Green over there trying to sell to the official that he dropped his shoulder into him to gain the contact. I don't think he did that. That would be a smart move to do, but I think he was just simply going to take the shot, and the Antietam player came over and fouled him.
So far, 2 for 2 from the free throw line as he looks for teammates to give him a high five, and they're not there.
That's the other thing about a technical foul. There's nobody there to high five you.
He goes 2 for 3, and that ends the first half with the Vikings up 27-11. And I think the Vikings are they going to put some time back on the clock? Well, nope, they decided to put time back on the clock, why didn't they line up at the lane then?
Yeah, it's got to be under a second, right? So.
Well, it's not gonna end up meaning anything, but now it's officially halftime with the score: Perkins Valley 27, Antietam 11. And if you're Coach Boise, you probably were okay, especially with that second quarter.
Yeah, they really, both teams started out slow, as we mentioned, but Perk Valley really seemed to pick it up, especially on the defensive end. But I think we saw some things offensively that they did nice. In particular, if you're not making shots, you got people there to offensive rebound, and Chase Kelly did a great job of that in the first half.
All right, more thoughts coming up after halftime. Again, the Vikings lead by 16 at the half. Vikings lead at the half, 27-11, and it was really a tale of two quarters where Antietam, they were playing their pace in the first quarter, slow, played some good defense, really made it difficult for the Vikings. Second quarter, on the other hand, the Vikings kind of figured it out.
Yeah, and again, like we were saying, especially on the defensive end, I think their execution on the defensive end really proved the difference going into that second quarter and why we have a 27-11 score here. They're doing a nice job offensively. Like I said, a lot of putbacks by PV, but it's their defense that's really just stagnating that Antietam offense.
3 points in the second quarter for Antietam. It was a three-pointer for outside from Noel Coste, and that was it. And was that a case of the Vikings playing really good defense, kind of figuring out what they were going to do, confusing them? What do you think the Vikings were doing there in the second?
Well, it's easy for me to say this, but both. I don't think Antietam has, at least in the first half, really an offensive weapon or an offensive presence to really give themselves good looks at the basket. And at the same time, Perk Valley did pick up their defense, took away total penetration, and that was the only looks that Antietam was able to get. They did bring number 32 in off the bench to kind of give them a little bit of an inside presence and create some openings, but even then they weren't really successful with it. But I think that was also a product of PV's good defense. Mike Poisden and their defense has always been really good at communicating, and I think that's the key to why they're having success, especially in the second quarter with their defense.
Mike Boyce has got to be happy with that first half, but he also knows he's got a young team, and there's going to be some highs and there's going to be some lows this year.
Yeah, and he's able to play 10 players right now. So, yes, there is going to be growing pains. There's going to be better teams at Antietam, not to take anything away from them, but we know in the pack, Springford and Pottstown is very good this year. Pottsgrove, although they lost Damian Doctor, I believe, for the season, their best player, but they're certainly going to face a lot more talent. And even in CB West this Saturday, which is their next opponent, they're going to see a better team, and that'll really be a good gauge to see where they're going, although early in the season. And
the season doesn't really ease in for the Vikings too much because they've got Springford, Methacton, and PJP all coming up in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah. So it is going to be a good test for a young team. I think tonight's game is a good matchup for them to kind of get under their legs and see what they're capable of doing. And so far, so good. You're not seeing the best thing about it is you're not seeing these young players take ill-advised shots, ill-advised turnovers. They're really playing sound basketball and within the confines of Coach Poisden's concept.
Speaking of which, Cy Hoppenwasser with an easy layup, and he finally gets on the board here as we start the second half. Steal by the Vikings, Stein ahead. This is Motley off the glass and good for two.
Yeah, he's a smooth young player. Really does a nice job going to the basket, but just has a presence out there, a real command of what's going on. He's really, as Coach Poisden was saying the other day, their truest one over the last few years. You really have a good point guard here that can distribute the ball, can run your offense, and take control out there on the floor.
Vikings again playing good defense here. Pass back out to Jonas Coste. Guarded tightly by Owen Bryant. He hands it off now to Noel Coste. Goes back to Shifley. Shifley has it stolen, and the Vikings have a 3-on-1, now a 2-on-1. Motley to the basket, good for two.
One of the things I'm watching Antietam on offense is away from the ball. He's going to get called for the travel there. Away from the ball, they're watching the ball. Instead of cutting and executing their offense, they're kind of stuck in this mode where they're waiting for somebody to do something to create something for them because they haven't been able to create. Now they're backing out of that three-quarter court pressure.
I would assume the Vikings are going to spend a little bit of time here in the second half trying to maybe get the inside game going a little bit. Success from outside, maybe a little bit more inside as they go to Hoppenwasser. He goes to the basket, gets the roll, and good. 8-0 run to start the second half for the Vikings.
Again, it's good to see Ty Hoppenwasser really create a presence for himself underneath the basket, being PV's five-man, basically.
So they're going to make me do math here. I believe this is a 30-3 run for the Vikings.
I'm going to say you're right with that math.
I think it was 8-5, right?
I can't correct it. So
well,
I agree.
With that. We're gonna insist our viewers not use the rewind button to find out. Chase Kelly gets the roll. It is a 10-0 run to start the second half. That one I know.
Antietam's not in a position here to be trading baskets with Perk Valley. They really got to find something defensively to create some offense, whether that's forcing Perk Valley into turnovers, whatever that may be, forcing them to take fast shots, bad shots. But they got to find something to do defensively to really start to make even an attempt to change the tide of the game.
Well, they tried it the second quarter with Caden Moss, and he comes back in for Antietam. Vikings, by the way, got another foul there on Owen Bryant, his second.
Yeah, and he's gonna just set screens, as you can see there, and then roll back, high post, low post.
Coste guarded by Kelly. Moss loses it. Shifley is able to get it back and draws the foul. This one's going to be on Will Stein.
Good aggressive foul going after a loose ball.
So that's Will Stein's second foul. And then quickly the second foul for the Vikings here to start the third quarter. By the way, new basketballs this year there, Coach.
Yeah, I don't like them. I was holding one the other day, and it's just my own personal feel. The grooves aren't very deep. I don't like the color of it. It looks, I'll say, cheap. And and the fitting of the ball, the material just doesn't seem as tacky. I like a good tacky basketball so you can really get a grip on a shot.
They may look cheap, but according to Coach or our athletic director Bob Felty, they are not cheap.
I'll bet they're not.
They're not. Another substitution coming into the game is John Boyd. He'll check in for Ty Hoppenwasser, who put in about 3.5 minutes of good work here to start the second half.
Back to that 2-1-2 for Antietam, see if it creates anything for them. I think they need to do something that creates some pressure as opposed to sitting back, because PV's just going right by it.
Instead, John Boyd is able to hit a cutting Will Stein, and he goes to the basket and draws the foul. So a couple more free throws coming up for the Vikings as Stein goes to the basket.
Antietam a little slow in the rotation back, giving up that wing.
So Stein will shoot 2. That was the second foul called on Caden Moss. Well, I think we're starting to see the one thing Coach Boyce is going to talk about at practice tomorrow. The free throws have not been as good as they probably hoped.
Yeah, there's two short by Will.
As a coach, you're always looking for something to talk about at practice the next day, especially after a game like this. Free throws will be there.
Yeah, and players get buried and forget about it, especially when you have a 37-11.
Ooh, nice move there by Owen Bryant.
Yeah, really nice move. And you forget that you're missing free throws, but I'm sure the statistic is being kept on that bench, and they'll know exactly what their shooting percentage from the free throw line was.
Shifley guarded by Stein. Now Schrem. Back to Shifley. Shifley tries to drive. He goes amongst 3 players, and one of them will be called for a foul. That was an optimistic drive there by Shifley. But he draws the foul, and he'll shoot 2. And Owen Bryant gets called for his third foul.
Antietam getting to the basket, and Perk Valley doing a good job of defending it, although picking up the foul. You saw 2 players slide over to defend the lane. That's a good sign.
A.J. Shifley makes the first one. Coming back in for the Vikings, Austin Kelly, and also looks like number 14, David Valente, coming back in as well. Josiah LeBron comes back in for Antietam, so too is number 5, Jonas Coste. Shifley 2 for 2 from the free throw line. First 2 points of the second half for Antietam. They've scored 5 points over the last 2 quarters.
Antietam kind of extended that to a full court there, but not all 5 players were on the same page. They backed off out of it.
Kelly for 3. Rebounded and put back up by Austin Kelly off his brother's miss, and he'll draw the foul. Caden Moss has picked up his 3rd foul for Antietam. So 2 players with foul trouble. Steal by Boyd. He pushes ahead to Kelly. Chase Kelly to the basket, draws the foul, and gets 2.
Wow, thread the needle there with the pass right in between the 2 Antietam defenders. Chase is able to catch it and finish for the three-point play. Really well done. Nice lead pass.
Yeah, from up here, it sure looked like that was going to be intercepted by the, let's say, the cornerback on that one. But
Yeah, it did look like he was going to get
threw
through.
it right in the bucket.
Yeah. It was a dart. Not hard, but perfect.
Jonas Coste called for his first foul. Kelly makes the free throw, and then he gets subbed in for Kyle Tracy. Vikings lead by 30 with 3:03 to go. Now 3 minutes to go, third quarter. Long three-pointer.
Deep three.
And then a foul called under the basket on Ben Motley. Shrem goes up for the rebound, draws the foul, and that's the fourth foul on the Vikings. We've reached 30 points, which means the clock now runs.
We're at the mercy rule.
So if you have any deep thoughts about this game, get them out quick, because the fourth quarter is going to go by fast.
You're going to get that snack at the end of the third quarter. Do it.
Trying to split the defenders, then pushes it out of bounds off of Ben Motley, and it turns over back to Antietam. Coming in for the Vikings, Derek Deal. By the way, was there ever a time there for Coach Collins where he used wing as a position, as the Vikings are this year on their roster?
I'm sorry, used what is it?
Wing. They got wing on their
Oh, yeah, I've never seen that before. Is that
well, there's no centers on it.
Yeah, we've got G for guard, F for forward. I don't know what a wing is. We don't want to call centers anymore.
Nope.
We don't want to designate a center.
It's a different game now, isn't it? John Boyd cuts through the lane right now. I guess he was the temporary center there. Valente puts up a shot fake, then drives on Moss. Kicks back out. For three is Austin Kelly.
PV really shooting well from the perimeter, especially obviously since the second quarter began. But in the third quarter here, they're really doing a nice job.
Antietam had 8 points in the first quarter. They've had 5 since, with 1 minute to go in the third quarter. Shem looks inside, puts it up, no good. And coming down with it is David Valente. Deal passes off to Tracy. Tracy for three. Rebounded by Deal off the back heel. Valente comes down with it and draws the foul.
Yeah, and that's exactly what Coach Poison is talking about. When you've got size across the board there, you really can rebound from any position. You know, not that you can otherwise, but when you've got a little bit of height and you've got some athleticism, all 5 of them, if not all 10, are capable of rebounding the ball from the offensive or defensive position. And tonight especially, they've done a great job on the offensive glass.
Valente's free throw is long. Coming in the game for Antietam, number 15, Zamel Boston. Second free throw is good.
You know, there's certain things on a basketball court or on any sport playing field you can't control, but there are a lot of things you can. One of those things is effort. So from a rebounding standpoint, if you can put your mindset into that effort, you're going to be successful on the court, but especially because you're successful at rebounding the ball based on your effort.
Shifley for 2 inside. Vikings hold on for one last shot here before the end of the quarter. Long three-pointer by Kelly, no good. And the third quarter ends with the Vikings up 47-15. The Vikings outscored Antietam in that third quarter. Let's see, I'm doing math again. 20-4.
Yeah, I mean, obviously a decisive quarter in this sense. Again, first game for both teams. PV just looks, and they haven't been playing together a whole lot. They really look like a team that's been playing together for a few years. And they're really showing some poise from these younger guys. Like I said earlier, they're not making young player mistakes. They're not turning the ball over. They're not taking ill-advised shots. they're waiting and they're patient in the offense. So we'll see if this continues, certainly into the fourth quarter, but when we're back here on Saturday against CB West.
Yeah, you mentioned the next game will be on Saturday afternoon against a Suburban 1 team. Going to put up probably a bit more of a challenge than tonight's team did.
Yeah, they've had some success the last few years. Adam Sherman in his 25th year. Adam Sherman started 1 year after I started at Souderton, so we got to know one another a little bit. He's done a great job at CB West. That program's had a lot of success. You know, high school sports are cyclical. How your players come through is how you're going to approach your season, no matter what the sport. So he's done a really good job of raising the level of those players. They're going to come in here on Saturday. They're certainly going to play hard, and they're going to be well coached.
Don't forget to bring your sunglasses. It's going to be bright in here.
Yeah, we got to hope for a cloudy day.
It's going to be cold, I can tell you that. 2 more points for the Vikings here to start the fourth quarter. Is once again, we are on the running clock here in the fourth quarter. Once a team is up by 30, the clock runs for everything except for free throws and timeouts. Usually we have to explain that during the girls' games last year. So
I was just thinking the same thing. We spent so many games last year. I don't want to say trying to fill space, but, you know, we were in this position usually in the second quarter or third quarter early, you know, and here we are with the boys now in opening night against Antietam.
We both had this three-pointer is good for Jonas Coste. And we'll talk more about this during the girls' season, our first game next week. But, boy, that state championship game, those poor PCN announcers probably never done a game with the mercy rule, and they had to fill the state championship game. And then they had to figure out how to put commercial breaks in a game with a mercy rule.
They should have asked us because we did it all year.
I mean, we had stories to tell.
Yeah.
Austin Kelly for 2, and he'll shoot a free throw as well.
So here's a message to last year's girls team. For as great as you were, boy, did you make it challenging for us announcers.
Every game we thought was going to be close and interesting and entertaining, and it was already halftime. It was a 30-point game.
I can only talk about their family members so much.
Which, by the way, I'm so glad they still watch us. But
and again, you know, we certainly talked about and will for years about how great that team was, and for 4 years, and but most importantly, and I think you can attest to this, just a great group of girls off the court as well. You know, very pleasant to be around. Excuse me, very good students. You know, and they're seeing success now at the next level. And it was just so much fun to cover them for that reason.
And the reason why we bring this up now is because that was a core group of players who played together for 3 or 4 years at the Vikings. And, you know, let's not say that this is a state championship basketball team here, but the Vikings here with these sophomores, maybe they got that same kind of thing going on here as well.
Yeah, that type of pedigree. You know, you're seeing two starters, again, like we were saying earlier, you know, who seem unflappable out there. Again, it's game 1. And then the 3 coming off the bench who seem like they've been here before. And again, the part that's impressing me is you're not seeing those young player type mistakes. And again, when you play CB West on Saturday, my guess is Adam Sherman's going to turn up the heat on them, and he's going to have them pressing and whatnot. We'll see how they react in that situation.
Wow. And also, too, as a coach, you know, you never look as good as your best day, and you're never as bad as your worst day, and there's going to be some good days
true.
and probably some not good days out there, but this is a good start for the Vikings.
Yeah. And like you said, you look at this long term over the next 3 seasons, 3 seasons, that's a heck of an outlook.
Three-pointer is good for Jonas Coste. And Antietam finally gets over 20. It's 52-21 Vikings lead.
I think that was their first three-pointer that wasn't at the top of the key. I think they've made 4 so far tonight.
Vikings do check back in Ty Hoppenwasser. And I think he just saw the ball go by his hands there. John Boyd called for the backcourt. Vikings go to the bench again. Ben Motley's going to come in, this time for John Boyd, as the Vikings have pretty much their starting lineup back out there on the court, except for Kyle Tracy out there. Vikings with a little double team there. A.J. Shifley dribbles out of it. Look at that Vikings defense collapse around him in the lane. Now up for two, rolls out. There's a shot by Noel Coste. Now dive for the basketball. Deal picks it up and gives the hop and Wasser as we are halfway through the fourth.
Yeah, and again, to your point of the defense rotating there, I'm watching them as much as I can't hear them from here. Their communication is excellent, and that's a big piece to defense. Team communication and being able to slide and help and so forth and so on. And in just game one, with a brand new starting five, these guys are communicating well.
Jonah Coste called for the foul, his second. It's going to be Austin Kelly who gets into Kyle Tracy and back to Ben Motley. Three-pointer for Deal, and that's good.
Also a southpaw.
Long three-point attempt for Shifley's long. Deal comes down with the rebound. So Derek Deal is starting to fill up the stat book here a little bit here in the second half.
I believe he made their first basket tonight with the three-pointer. Nice job there.
Shifley for two. As we are now under 3 minutes ago in regulation. Tracy thought about the three, well guarded. Now hands off to Kelly. Rattles out. Rebound by Jonas Coste. This pass is stolen by Kyle Tracy. Motley fouled from behind. He may have had a little bit of a skipped step there beforehand.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think he got away with one there.
A.J. Shifley called for the foul, his fourth. And they're going to give him 3 shots as they ruled this was on a three-point attempt.
He's got a unique free throw rhythm. Steps to the back of the key, asks for the ball there from the official, and then takes a dribble up to the line from pretty far back.
Well, he's 2 for 2, so whatever he does, keep doing it.
Oh, without a doubt. You get in it, that's what you want to do at the free throw line. Develop a routine. That routine's going to help you focus. He's got a nice routine there. It's a little bit different looking, but it works for him.
Motley goes 3 for 3 for the free throw line with 2:11 to go in the game. Vikings lead by 35.
It's funny if you asked me, and don't, to recite how I shot my free throw, I could tell you step by step how I spun the ball, how it was in my hands, and then how I looked at the rim. And I don't think I'm any different than any other basketball player. You develop that pattern to get you focused at the free throw line. Back to the point you made earlier of, it's an odd place to be in a basketball game. Everything stops and you're there. So you got to focus.
Motley for 2 puts the Vikings at over 60 for the first time this year. And we're starting to wind this one down with 1:20 to go. Shifley for 3.
He was ready before the first pass left his hand, and then it came back to him. He was ready to take that 3.
So a couple days of practice for the Vikings coming up, and then they will be hosting again Saturday afternoon game against CB West. That game is at 12:30. We'll have that one for you. Danny and I will both be here.
We're like the NFL when you get a couple of Saturdays before Christmas. We like to go in the afternoon.
A whole bunch of Saturday games coming up for the Vikings, especially here in December.
Nice look.
Pass underneath, no good. And we're going to get a foul underneath, so no shots, so the clock will run. And there's a chance this might run out before they get the ball in, as we are under 30 seconds to play. So if we go back to the first quarter, Antietam led this game at 1 point, 8-5. And then since then, it's been all Perkiomen Valley.
Yeah, very encouraging for Coach Poisden and the team this evening. Again, it's not what Cardinal O'Hara was last year, but when you're coming out with brand new 5 starters and 2 of them are sophomores, this is exactly the kind of start you like to see.
So if you're looking for a nice way to ease into the season, check a lot of boxes. The Vikings' mission accomplished tonight as they beat the Antietam Mountaineers tonight 62-26 in a game where I feel Coach Poison's got to feel pretty good about things, but also knows that there's some bigger games coming up ahead. The Vikings will return home Saturday afternoon when they host CB West. That game's at 12:30. Mr. Collins and I will be here. Mr. Collins, any final thoughts before we go to that game?
Nice start by Perk Valley. Again, very smooth, very crisp. Again, not a lot of errors or unforced errors by your younger players. Nice to see them play well together. Again, only game 1, and as we've said, you're going to face certainly tougher opponents down the road, but certainly a good start for the team, and I'm sure Coach Poison is happy. But like you said, you're going to look at those free throws, and you're going to want to work on them over the next few days.
There's always something to coach, right?
Without
always
a
something to
doubt.
coach. All right, well, we'd like to thank Ian Miles and Austin Trey for being our assistants tonight. Danny Collins, we'll see you on Saturday. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you Saturday afternoon for the next Vikings basketball game.